After the Bulls moved off Zach LaVine, many people assumed Chicago's season was pretty much over, and they were going to most likely be going into the draft with a protected top 10 pick. But the Bulls have just won 9 out of the last 11 games, and Coby White over the stretch has been on an absolute tear, averaging over 30 points per game with really high efficiency. In this video, we're going to go over what exactly White's been doing to find success and how his play style fits perfectly in Chicago's system. Now to start things off, we have to look at White's play in transition. Chicago so far this year has made it a huge emphasis to get out and push the ball as much as possible. And so far this year, they're averaging over 31 points per game in the open court, which is the second most across the league. And White has the perfect build and skill set to match this high-paced offense. First, he has the speed to get out and fill lanes, to then beat the defense down the court for running layups. But more importantly, White can also spot up and drain threes, which has been another emphasis for Chicago this year, where right now they're attempting over 42 threes per game, which is second to only the Boston Celtics. And again, Chicago generates a big chunk of their looks out in transition, where instead of their off-ball players diving towards the basket, they often spread out behind the three to space the floor and get clean catch and shoot threes. And White fits like a glove in this high pace and space offense, where right now he's attempting the most threes in transition per game, while also shooting a blazing hot 45%. And then on top of White's ability to fill lanes, spot up, and knock down open threes, he's also a legit scoring threat while pushing the ball himself. First, if the defense doesn't step out and meet him, White has no problem picking up into 30-foot bombs.
Coby White, way downtown.
And then along with that pull-up shooting, he's also got the footwork and ball control to create additional space off the bounce. Watch him here take one aggressive dribble, to then open up his stance and shift all his way to his right foot, which pushes the defense back, giving him plenty of airspace to elevate. I love this move here, where Coby off the bounce is going to slide the ball behind, to then drift out to his left for another pull-up. This is a nice variation off that move, where White again brings the ball behind, but now he's going to create additional space by pivoting his right foot across, and punching back for a hard step back. So that pull-up shooting naturally forces the defense to step out, and meet Coby out beyond the three, but that then gives him the leverage to explode downhill. With the ball, White's great at changing his pace and using his eyes to pull the defense out, to then quickly drop back down into drives. And then along with that pace, White also has a really sticky handle, being able to hit sharp combos while playing with a head of steam. And many of these moves may seem pretty basic, but it takes a crazy amount of ball control and footwork to be able to string combinations together without breaking stride. Take this play for example. Look how smoothly Coby is going to transfer the ball through, to then reset his feet and attack towards the middle.
Coby White got another one.
This move here is super tough, where White's going to again transfer the ball through, to then drift back out as if he's looking to separate behind the line. But when he feels this defender leaning up, he's then going to push the ball across to his left. This move here is also crazy, where White's going to get to this aggressive push cross towards his left, to then immediately lift his chest up and wrap the ball behind. And then along with that shot making and ball handling on the perimeter, White's also a pretty advanced scorer in the paint. The first thing we can look at is his strength. When playing downhill, Coby's not afraid to initiate contact, where he's got the stability to absorb bumps and elevate up for balanced finishes. He's going to attack Pascal Siakam to his left, and notice how Coby's going to pick up off his right foot, to then immediately elevate off his next step. And with Siakam draped all over him, White still has the control to muscle up this finish. When playing in traffic, White also has a whole duffel bag of different strides and pickups. He can hit punchy Euro steps to create scoring angles, as well as use gathers to slice through small creases. One of White's go-to moves has been this low pickup, where he often sets up the drive one way, then picks up and explodes the other way.
White splits the defense,
Watch him here skip up and sell the blow by to his right. And when he feels the defense leaning, White's going to again pick up and step through contact towards the middle. And notice how he gathers just one step below the three. But White from this spot still has no problem covering all this ground to get to the front of the rim. Now when switching over and looking at Coby's play in the half court, he does a vast majority of his work out of pick and roll, where again the foundation of his game lays with that pull-up shooting. If the defense plays him soft or gives him too much airspace, White's rising up into a 3 with no hesitation. And that shot making in general forces the big to step up and meet him at the level of the screen. And this is where White can unleash his whole bag off the dribble. First, when coming off, White's both a threat to hit the turbo button and turn the corner, as well as use that ball control to change direction and knife back towards the middle. Watch him here again skip up to sell the drive, to then pound the ball and pick up back towards the middle. And then even after White commits to a drive, he still has both the ball and body control to change direction. He's first going to commit to this drive going right, and when Steven Adams slides and walls him off, Coby's got the balance to pick up and spin back to his left. And that ability to change direction, stop and start, while also being a non-stop shooting threat, makes White really difficult to deal with in open space. And he's great at playing off all these different elements in his game. Watch him first come off the screen, to then hezzy, drop down to sell the drive, snatch the ball back through, to then hezzy again, and finally get to this hard push cross to his right. This is initially really good defense right here, where Coby turns his body as if he's looking to use his screen, but then he's going to refuse it back towards his right. But watch how quickly this defender is able to turn his hips and cut him off. But White in response is going to slam the brakes by planting that right foot, to then snatch the ball through, setting up this angle towards the middle. And I know we already mentioned Coby's strength, but it can't be overstated how big of a factor it's been in his game. And that physicality also plays a huge factor in his pick and roll scoring. First, if he gets the defense on his hip, it's really tough to push him off his driving line. Or if his man gets clipped by the screen, White's great at getting active with his off arm to keep his driving angle. And then if his man tries to cheat under and head off his drive, White in response will pick up a head of steam and barrel into them with that inside shoulder. Plus in the paint, White can also use that strength to step through contact and into finishes. Watch him again here put that inside shoulder into the defense, to then step across for this right-left euro. And that physicality also carries over to his mid-range game, where White's got both the strength and control to keep the defense on his hip, to then bump out and separate for these in-between looks. Now overall, these aren't shots White gets to in super high volume. Like we've gone over, his shot diet for the most part is layups and threes. But these are still good looks for him to have in his back pocket, and he can always get to these shots if there's size in the paint, or if the defense sends extra help. So when playing in pick and roll, White's a real 3-level scoring threat. He's comfortable pulling up from deep going both right or left, he's got the handle to break down the defense and put pressure on the rim, plus his strength makes him a very effective scorer in the deep paint and in the mid-range. And then all that scoring naturally opens up White's passing. Because Coby is such a big scoring threat once he turns the corner on these ball screens, he often pulls the big up and across to take away that straight line drive. But that then opens up these routine pocket passes. And White's comfortable snapping these with one hand going both right or left. And then if the defense wants to send extra help from the weak side, Coby has no problem making these cross-court skip passes. But while White may check most of the boxes as a passer, there are a few things holding him back from truly being a top-tier playmaker. First, Coby's lack of size does prevent him from reading the entire court if he drives too deep into traffic, where he'll either miss passing reads or be way off the mark with his deliveries.
It's rare.
Plus, there's times where Coby can't get sped up by ball pressure. But outside of that, I think White's been a very reliable decision maker. He may not be on the level of a Nikola Jokic or Luka Doncic, but if the defense puts 2 on the ball, White's going to make the right play, which generally leads to high quality offense. So when looking at all the skills Coby White brings to the table, he gives the Chicago Bulls everything they need. His shot making and speed makes him deadly in the open court. He's got the ball skills to generate offense at all 3 levels in the half court, while also being able to punish the defense for sending extra help. This type of on-ball creation is exactly what the Bulls need, especially after moving off Zach LaVine. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments who the kids should break down next. The kids here.